Greetings everybody, it is I am the one and only Maxi here, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that because I got something a bit belchy at this rate, but I promise you guys until the next few videos, I'm gonna start belching from now on. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario 3D All-Stars for the Nintendo Switch, while we're playing through Super Mario 64, originally for the Nintendo 64 since 1996, or 1997 for European countries. So, last time we have managed able to collect about quite a few Power Stars actually. In addition to that, we also managed able to complete it not one, not two, not three, but 4 worlds. So yeah, that's actually interesting. So today for this video, we're about to be able to move on to the next mission we have is stand tall on the 4 pillars. And while we're at it though, is the fact that we might able to actually wrap things up in terms of shifting Sandland before we move on to the next world. So yeah, that should be self-explanatory whenever you think about it. So anyway though, let's just go ahead and get started right here. For the likes of, as I said, the 4th mission in this world. So, now, obviously there are multiple ways you can do this, but I'm actually going to be going for the wing cap option because it makes things a bit easier for you, for those of you ever trying to able to have struggles with this particular. That pillar over there might give you a bit of struggles if you have a first time experiencing this mission, but regardless of such though, I always attempt to go for the actual wing cap the most, for the sake of likely have an easier time trying to able to fly towards it. So yeah, that basically summarized for that such. So yeah, today's day is of course the I would say today this is the I would say the 13th of, actually gonna think about it, I sort of misjudged on that particular date. Oh wait, it was actually the 14th of January today, in this case in 2022 today. So yeah, I believe we've almost at the halfway point. Well, generally a little bit of a halfway point in terms of January already. So yeah, I still can't believe that the time itself went super flying by. So anyways, before we mention about more discussions on that though, we need to take care of the forms of the iRock boss. So, who walk here? Who break seal? Wake ancient ones. We know like light. Rumble. We know like intruders. Now battle. Hand in hand. So you know the idea, basically when the eye shows up, it's your chance able to punch in one of those eyes for those eye rocks. So, pretty self-explanatory, but it gets a bit tricky later on, especially after enough hits on them. It doesn't matter either, you can either hit those 2 eye rocks. Basically, he'll try to able to shove you off the course, but after quite enough hits on them, basically the power star will be yours to get. So, darn it, I was hoping I could get that shrine. Grumble, what happened? We crushed like pebble. You're so strong. You rule ancient pyramid for today. Now take star of power. We sleep darkness. Yeah, relatively an easy mission if you get the hang of it though. And guess what folks? We are now on 64 Power Stars, the exact same number as in the title of Super Mario 64 as the game itself. So, pretty swell I have to say. So anyways, let's head back in here to do, what else? The next mission. So, mission 5, free flying for 8 red coins. Now, we've almost at the point where we're technically almost trying to able to collect. Oh, that's actually pretty satisfying, kind of think about it. That fly guy just ran into the forms of that bomb, and they somehow explode to each other. That's actually satisfying. Mind you, that we've already done the 100 coin Power Star mission already, so yeah, there's nothing to worry about that anytime soon. So, well, it wasn't until whenever we get into the 9th world, and especially noticeable until, well, the future worlds in general, so, yeah, that pretty much summarized as such. I think speaking of which though, is the fact that I'm pretty sure we're on the halfway point in terms of completing the 100 coin Power Star missions throughout the whole game, because by that time until whatever we get to towards the very end of the game, specifically course 14 and course 15, that gets a bit tough though, even especially noticeable on course 12 or course 13, but then again we'll point it out until in you know, Monday, Wednesday and Fridays basically, so but I digress. So, yeah, let's get to the forms of the discussions for this point today, apart from the fact that, well, I was expecting to try and mention something more about the forms of that new tour just came out for the sake of Mario Kart Tour, but unfortunately though, I'm gonna have to wait until about, next Monday until I discuss more details about that, mainly because, well, I feel like I was trying to discuss upon, well, a different topic for a change, and that I think I forgot to mention about that as well, from my final thoughts of 2021. Well, I've already mentioned about the fact that the film selections is actually really good, although there's one particular film I'm alright with, and that is Fast and Furious 9, despite the fact that most critics seems to have found this to be a mixed bag when it comes to the films of the entire film itself, either critics and fans alike or something like that. Well, mind you, I haven't exactly watched Fast and Furious stuff quite recently, mainly because I was excited for, well, by that time, we only got about 3 months left until the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie is going to approach, so at least I'm excited for that. Especially noticeable about the fact that what really helps is that from what I've heard, that for the first ever trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as a movie, basically it received so well for positive feedback for the likes of not only for fans, but I believe everyone else as well, I think, which is especially true, that unlike in back in the horror stories of, well, let's just say by the end of April in 2019, oh god, they have a lot of negative reactions to that back then, so... Alright, mission 6, Pyramid Puzzle, the final mission in Shifting Sandland. And after we're done with that, we can pretty much move on to the next world, which, if I was assuming correctly, it will have to be Dire Docks. So, yeah, that basically summarizes such for this point right here. So, anyways, let's get to the forms of that discussion for this point, and that is the fact that one thing I forgot to mention about, and that's the forms of the 2021 film's box office they did manage to reach into. Like, I believe, at this point in time, that Spider-Man No Way Home actually got into the #1 box office for the likes of 2021. So it's pretty incredible if you ask me, which is usually, relatively speaking, that I think this Spider-Man No Way Home film just managed to reach for about, I think currently speaking, it was actually by the forms of $1 billion, which is quite a lot, even though that, relatively speaking, they almost try to catch up to not only Avengers Endgame, but also Toy Story 4, I think, and even the pretty terrible remake of The Lion King from 2019. Seriously, whoever thought that remake was a good idea? I have no idea, but that's besides the point, so... How do I manage able to fall from here? I completely forgot about that. But anyway, and I believe No Time to Die, that is now able to actually came into 4th place now for the actual box office, for sake of money box office, and that is the fact that they've, that film just managed to be able to got, $774 million for box office, which is actually pretty good for the sake of the actual box office records, which I would say it is very impressive, but as a result though, that not exactly sure what's going to be up next for James Bond stuff. Well, despite the fact that I'm not exactly sure, I'm not going to spoil the actual ending to the recent film, which I'm probably not going to discuss on that right now, because it's the most recent film that came out, so... But I digress. And, I suppose another film they actually did manage to able to make it to the box office, though, well, everything else plays out pretty much exactly the same. Like, although actually couldn't think about it, is the fact that I believe Eternals is pretty much now on the 10th place spot, and I think oddly enough that Black Widow is no longer on the top 10 list, which I have no idea. Well, mind you, because of the films that Disney might be involved with that stuff. And, yeah, that's pretty much about it. For Eternals, though, I think it's roughly about $401 million for box office. And Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, it's more accurately like $432 million on box office, so I guess that's pretty good. And 8th spot goes to, or 8th place position goes to Godzilla vs. Kong, that it managed able to receive $467 million or more for the likes of, I would say for the box office, so... And the 7th place goes to Vinman, or Vinnon, Let There Be Cringe, I think that's what the title of the film is called anyway. And that particular film receives about $501 million for box office. Ah, so close! I was expecting to get that coin up there. But unfortunately though, because the camera angle screws me up sometimes. And 6th place goes to Detective Chinatown 3, and I think that particular film is actually now on $706 million for box office. And 5th place goes to Fast and Furious 9, or Fast 9 as what it's called, or F9 to be more specifically. That film is now at this point it's likely $726 million for box office, and I've already mentioned No Time to Die was actually on $774 million for box office for worldwide, so that's actually pretty good. Hi Mom is basically $841 million for box office, and 2nd place goes to The Battle at Lake Changjin, which is actually on $906 million for box office. And like I mentioned before, Spider-Man No Way Home is currently now on 1st place for $1 billion for box office, which is pretty impressive all things considered, so... But I digress. So, yeah, that's actually super dope and everything. So, and another thing I just want to classify for something, and that is the fact that, relatively speaking, that for what I've heard, for some rumors or certain leaks out there, about the fact that maybe, just maybe, I'm not exactly sure if it's possible, but I'm really hoping that'll be the case, that according to the forms of certain, trademark listings, and that was actually a really weird camera shot for that, obtain a star from that view, which... It's kind of weird, honestly, but hey, at least we got that star anyway. And we've completed Shifting Sandland, so now we're going to be moving on to the next world, which, as I said, we're going to be moving on to Dire Docks next. So, and as to be expected, we need to get about 30 power stars in order to make it there, so, yeah, pretty standard stuff for the most part. And also, that way we can able to go into the 2nd Bowser level, but before we get into that level though, we need to take care of the forms of one of those missions in Dire Docks first. So the first mission we have right here is board Bowser's sub. So basically, I think this mission is mandatory, by the way, in order to progress. So that's something worth noting for. So yeah, Dire Docks is basically, it's like Jolly Roger Bay Part 2, except the fact that, wow, I don't think there's any like that much landscape you can able to walk onto this time around, I don't think. But at least as far as I'm guessing so. So anyway, yeah, for I've heard that, for some trademarks when it comes to Bandai Namco, for rumors alike, that, the Klonoa 1 and 2 might potentially get themselves a remastered compilation games between those two games, specifically. And I was like, okay, I like the sound of that. Which, it always kind of feels a bit similar to Super Mario 3D All-Stars, as you can see. That, mind you, I'm not exactly sure what is it going to be like, but if it does come true, I'll be very happy with, Klonoa finally makes his return after, well, ever since then, that, usually relatively speaking, that it really doesn't look too good nowadays, doesn't it, back in the past, for Klonoa franchise, because we have not seen a new Klonoa game, well, ever since unofficial, timeline for Klonoa games, that ever since in, well, I would say, either Klonoa Heroes, a Japanese RPG exclusive game on the Game Boy Advance, or potentially speaking with Klonoa 2 Dream Champ Tournament, ever since in the English versions throughout. Actually, I'll get to more in a second. Mission 2, chests in the current. So basically, we have to once again deal with all of these treasure chests in the correct order. So, yeah, that maybe seems the case. So anyway, it has been almost 20 whole years since the last release of some Klonoa games for the sake of the actual timeline, or technically if you want to count the Wii remake for Klonoa Daughter Phantom Isle back in 2008, so it's more likely, technically speaking, like 14 years since the last release of the actual Klonoa game, and I was like, I'm really hoping this guy will be able to bring a massive comeback after 14 years of hiatus, which it kind of does like the exact same thing as the forms of how it does it for some classic Mega Man games, because we haven't exactly got the new Mega Man Classic game ever since, well, let's just say back in 2010 rather, sorry for a little bit of a tongue twisting here, folks, because basically that game came out originally in 2010, and we haven't got a new classic Mega Man game until 2018, where they revealed Mega Man 11, and after that, classic Mega Man just goes all hiatus again. So as a result though, it's been currently right now, 4 years after the release of Mega Man 11, so we haven't heard anything from Mega Man 12 yet, which I have no idea when that's gonna due out, but at least I'm assuming maybe it will announce eventually for this year, because in addition to, well, Kirby gets himself his 30th anniversary for this year, potentially, but also same applies to the Kingdom Hearts games, also getting its 20th anniversary, so maybe Mega Man might able to celebrate his 35th anniversary, you know, kind of like the forms of how it does it for Mario back in 2020, and the Legend of Zelda series from the likes of last year. Well, despite the fact that I'm still very sorry for Zelda fans for able to not have that much content for the 35th anniversary of the Zelda stuff, which is a shame honestly, because I would like to hear something more about it, but oh well, it knows what it is for the most part, basically. Okay, sorry for the jump cut right there, because I do found out that I accidentally managed to get back into Dire Docks earlier, but then I found out that the third mission might be unbeatable because, well, turns out I'm gonna have to complete Bowser at the Fire Sea first before I'm able to actually move on to the next mission of Dire Docks. So we'll take care of that first, because if you go back into Dire Docks, while we're able to actually do not deal with the forms of Bowser in the Fire Sea, basically there's the fact that the Bowser sub will still be visible, along with the forms of that particular little door thingy that just managed able to block the actual water currents by able to blow you back into the outside portion of Princess Peach's castle, which it might be handy in some scenarios, but I digress. And yeah, because I'd like to hear the forms of other fact that. Let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. Are you absolutely sure if the actual Klonoa remastered game compilations might able to make its triumph until maybe at some point? But again, it's all about speculations at the moment, mainly because, well, the rumors are still out there, especially noticeable that, for goodness sake, the rumors are actually getting so ridiculously old very fast sometimes. But some of them might be true, like for instance, you know, with the Sonic Frontiers game, that is actually did manage to make it come true for its actual name. And I've also noticed the fact that Super Mario Odyssey 2 might join along with that as well, if possible, but then again, no, it's all about speculations at the moment, so we're just gonna have to still wait for that. So, anyway, and yeah, because if that particular compilation of Klonoa remasters come true, then I'm definitely gonna get it though, especially that I can able to play the games. Imagine I can play those two amazing games on the go, and that's pretty much about it really. And another thing I wanted to discuss upon, and that is the fact that from what I've seen, the actual sale records for the sake of the forms of the best-selling Pokemon games throughout the years, like ever since like almost over like 26 years ago, that basically, is it like 26 years ago? I'm pretty sure it's almost 26 years ago. Basically, I did found out the results are for the sake of the best-selling Pokemon games. I'm talking about the main ones though, not the spin-offs though, so I'm usually count the main ones, despite the fact that I don't usually play the main games anymore, mainly because it's not my personal type for Pokemon games, I must be honest, but that's just my kind of theory, so... Anyways, I'll talk more about that in a moment later, because, well, we meet again Bowser for the second time, and now he's gonna be able to try to make the actual arena tilt every time when he's, you know, does a stomp, so... Although the entire battle remains the same, basically we still need to be able to grab his tail, and then try to toss him into the bombs, and, you know, of course, the differences between the rest of any other versions, like I said before, Mario says, bye-bye, instead of the forms of, so long, Gay Bowser, which is weird, because unlike in, the Switch Online, membership version of that particular game on the Nintendo Switch Online membership services, basically, it remains the same, like, the actual voice clip goes like, so long, King Bowser, and stuff like that, on the English version, and, I think that's as far as I can try to describe about it. But anyway, let's just go ahead and keep trying this again, because for some reason, I keep on messing things up with the actual Bowser tossing recently. Well, mind you, because of how the fact that it's been a couple of days ago since I actually last deal with Bowser last time. What the hell? Did I just clear through there? Oh, that's just unbelievable. I have no idea why I come across that. Although, I have seen that particular clipping for that platform before, which I've seen still a lot of, like, Glad Jonas's videos about bad luck in speedrunning. I think it's, the number 12 installment of Bad Luck in Speedrunning. And that was specifically in, I would say in 2018 version, if you want to check it out. Basically, what happens is that the fact that one of those speedrunners, somehow accidentally, jump while the platform tilts all the way through, and then if it just managed to tilt it back, unfortunately though, one of the players managed to clip through that platform and just managed to come across death by able to come across into a flame or a fire or lava. So it is unexpected, especially noticeable that I have no idea why that was not fixed at all. Although unlike in I would say the DS remake did manage to fix this solution, but then again though, it has been a couple of days since I actually last played Super Mario 64 DS since a year ago. But there we go, we've managed to deal with this Bowser's second fight, as you can tell, despite the fact that my coins are actually lost to my tally, but that's okay, because we are now going to be hitting back onto Dire Docks again for the third mission, pole jumping for red coins. So, yeah, that's basically about it. And also, I've got 69 power stars. In this case, 69, a dirty number. So, I have no idea why I bring that up, but that's besides the point. So, anyway, for the actual list of the best selling Pokemon games they've got throughout the years after like almost 26 years ago, and that is the fact that we actually have number 1 goes to Pokemon Sun and Moon for the 3DS, that was in 2016, and second place goes to Pokemon Sword and Shield for the Nintendo Switch in 2019, despite the fact that most fans seem to find the game disappointing. Unlike certain critics alike, they managed to have found the game to be, well, fun. But fans were disappointed for some reason because of the Pokédex system or something like that. And third best-selling Pokemon game, it was, I would say, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is basically a remake of Generation 3 from the likes of the Nintendo 3DS, and that was in 2014, which is impressive, considering how the fact that that was the second outing for the Pokemon games, specifically the main ones on the 3DS, so... And fourth place goes to Pokemon Black and White, and that was in 2011, and fifth place goes to the most recent mainstream Pokemon game called Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, are in the 5th place for the Nintendo Switch in last year. So, despite how most critics find the game to be alright, but fans once again slightly disappointed with the actual the game, mainly because I just have no idea why that most people seem to have found that game a lot of like mixed reactions or negative reactions or something like that. Although maybe it's because, well, the Pokédex system is going to get a lot more muted this time around, I think, which I have no idea why I'm saying this point right now, but I digress. 6th place goes to Pokemon X and Y for the 3DS back in 2013. The first ever outing for the main Pokemon game for the 3DS. So yeah, that's actually pretty swell, despite most people found Generation 6 to be one of their least favorite generation or something like that. I absolutely have no idea why, just bringing that out. And 7th place goes to Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee for the Nintendo Switch in 2018, which is the first ever main Pokemon game to be on the Nintendo Switch, so that's actually alright. And 8th place goes to Pokemon Yellow Edition for the Game Boy. For some reason it came out in 2000, but that was on the English version. And I'm pretty sure that the Japanese version came out during in 1999 or something like that. Mind you, I haven't exactly looked upon that much of Pokemon stuff as much as everyone else does, so, but that's just me. And 9th place goes to Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver in 2010. Well, to be more specifically, 2010 in the English countries, whilst compared to the Japanese version, it was in 2009, if I recall correctly. And, yeah, that was actually pretty good, even though that was actually a really good Gen 2 remake for the likes of the Nintendo DS. So, yeah, that's actually pretty swell. And speaking of Gold and Silver, that 10th place goes to Pokemon Gold and Silver for the likes of the Game Boy, well, to be more specifically Game Boy. Well, there's also a Game Boy Color compatibility as well, but ultimately speaking is that the cartridge shape is basically pretty much exactly like the other Pokemon games basically, so, well, minus the fact that you can able to have additional color if you play the game on the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Player. At least I'm assuming so anyway. And that was in 2001 for the English version, aka in the Japanese one, it was in 2000. So, yeah, that maybe seems the case. The Millennium. Yeah, I have no idea why I bring that up. Number 11 goes to Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, released in 2007 for the Nintendo DS, or 2006 in the Japanese version. So, yeah, that was actually super dope and everything, I think, anyway. And, number 12 goes to Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advance in 2003. I believe it was on 2002 in the Japanese version or something. Mind you, I haven't exactly looked upon it that much though, but anyway. Number 13 goes to Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which it did manage to sell lesser compared to the original version of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Well, I'm pretty sure it's because it was on the 3DS on the actual late lifespan, because at this point the Switch did manage to came out during the exact same year in 2017. So as a result though, I think that was actually the final Pokemon game to be released on the 3DS, so yeah, that begs the question for that. And number 14th place position goes to Pokemon Platinum for the DS, came out in 2009 in the English version, and I believe the Japanese version was in 2008, so at least if I recall that correctly. And I believe number 15 goes to Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 in the likes of 2012, if I was assuming correctly. And that was on the DS as well. In this case, the final Pokemon installment on the Nintendo DS before they moved on to the 3DS. So that's that. And number 16 goes to Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Game Boy Advance for the likes of 2004. So that's actually alright. And number 17 goes to Pokemon Emerald for the Game Boy Advance from the likes of 2005. And number 18 goes to Pokemon Crystal for the Game Boy Color for the likes of 2001. And finally, number 19th spot, which is actually kind of as like a lowest rating in terms of the best-selling Pokemon games out there. That's what appears to be Pokemon Red and Blue for some reason. So, yeah, back in 1999, I think. So, yeah, I have no idea why they just managed able to get this lowest sales records for that, the game that usually started it all, when it comes to that amazing series that most people really enjoy so much. But I digress. So, anyway, and I suppose the last thing I want to mention about, and that is the fact that I believe, also from what I've heard about the forms of some of developers alike, that between the films of both Paddington 3, that apparently that particular film is in the works for its development cycle, and I believe Chicken Run 2 might also be a part of a development cycle or something, although if I recall, that both of those films might potentially come until next year in 2023, I'm not exactly 100% sure on that. Mission 4, through the jet stream again, but this time around though, in a different world. So, although the actual main requirements remains the same, so because of that though, yeah, we still need to able to use the metal cap in order to able to, well, succeed this mission, so... And what's also pretty obvious is the fact that sometimes getting to one place to the other can be a bit slow at points, which is especially true because you're in swimming. But apart from those side of things though, this level's not too shabby for the most part. I mean, generally it's more accurately, it's just like, you know, Jolly Roger Bay, again, except, well, there's a lot of water involved, so... But of course, though, we need to still keep an eye on with the actual, oh yeah, there's a major differences this time compared to Jolly Roger Bay is the fact that we need to pass through 5 rings, as you can see on screen, and if you do this right, then the star will pop up into the actual jet stream, as you can see, and that way, you need to get yourselves the metal cap in order to able to, well, walk underwater, so that'll be a cool thing to do. So, I suppose that's pretty much as far as I can say for this discussion for this point, guys. I mean, surely that I would like to mention about the forms of more topic alike, but honestly, guys, that's as far as I can think about it. Oh, I suppose the final thing I would like to mention, actually I'll get to more now in a moment, because after all, that we've almost done with the forms of, well, Dire Dogs before we move on to the second floor. So, let's move on to the next mission, which is the Manta Ray's Reward. So, the 5th mission we are dealing with. So, and for this mission, we need to do exactly the same thing as the previous mission, through the jet stream, like going through rings and stuff, except now, there's a bit of a problem that I still need to pointing out about the fact that it does need to be fixed, although it might not likely, because it's a bit too late for this point right now, that for some reason, every time whenever I go for the ring like that, it does not count as the phones are trying to go through it, which I have no idea why they still have not fixed that issue, so that's probably just from my experience anyway, but it knows where it stands, so... Actually, kind of thinking about it, there's some more coins over there too, I could potentially grab, but it knows what it is. And there's the power star just on top of the actual whirlwind, or the whirlpool right there, which we definitely need to avoid, because if you get sucked on that, you lose a life, so be very careful. And there we go, only one more mission left for Dire Dogs before we move on to the second floor, and basically we are almost pretty much done with the basement floor. So, mission 6, collect the caps, meaning that we have to do a combination of not only the metal cap, but also the vanish cap. So, that as you notice on that particular red cage from the other side of a level, that way we can able to go into. So, but anyway, and yeah, the final thing I would like to mention is that, yes, we've only got about 2 weeks left now until Pokemon Legends Arceus is going to be approaching onto the Nintendo Switch. So, although mind you, I'm probably not going to get the game honestly though, mainly because, well, I was expecting to be able to try something new, but it's not my interest honestly. But I do know for the fact that a lot of people seem to be really excited for that game, because it's like the Pokemon version of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I was really excited for Sonic Frontiers a bit more, just because, well, since I'm a die-hard Sonic fan, such as you probably already noticed by this, and also that particular game also reminds me of Breath of the Wild as well. So, yeah, so a lot of competitions with those open-world games between those two franchises for this year, like, you know, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and of course, Sonic Frontiers, so... There we go, we've managed to complete Dire Docks, and I've managed to got about 74 power stars, not to be confused as the exact same number as in CapKing74 as a YouTube channel, which for the love of God, CapKing74, please come back to YouTube, just please, because I'm still getting sick of the forms of having a bit of a creepy stare with Alf from the likes of Pikmin 3 Deluxe trailer, and I was like, I'm just getting bored of that now. Well, that's probably just me anyway. So anyways, let's go and open up the locked door to be able to open up to the second floor. So, or you can just simply just clip through right there, just like in the previous version. So, actually, there's one more thing I want to show this off, and that is the fact that you notice what that backwards long jump trick you can able to do on certain speedrunners? Well, suffice to say, unfortunately though, on the 3D All-Stars version of this game, this has been fixed, so you can no longer try to do the 16-star run for the sake of that trick, so it's kind of a shame, honestly. Well, you can also do that from the likes of the Switch Online membership services as well, but I digress. So let's grab one more star for this video, and because of that, we're now up to 75 stars, so by asking Toad, basically. So, I think suffice to say, we'll go in and end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario 3D All-Stars while we play through Super Mario 64. That is the fact that we're going to be hitting on to the next, I would say the next two worlds, which are Snowman's Land and Wedge Dry World. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Later, fellas.